Walmart gaining in the pre-market on better than expected first quarter results and some pretty good guidance for more. Let's bring in Sucharita Kodali, a retail analyst at Forrester Research. There's a couple of things, Sucharita, we try to glean from this. One is, just that Walmart seems to be able to execute with this management team again and again. But also, we're trying to figure out the macro environment, which seems to, at the same time it plays into Walmart, there is some signs of stress on the low end of things.
Right. They are certainly able to attract some of those more affluent consumers. But overall, the Walmart numbers were pretty strong, definitely stronger than a number of other competitive retailers like Target. Its e-commerce numbers were actually, I would say, off the charts. They reported year-over-year e-com growth of more than 20%, which is higher than the industry is growing, and it was even higher than I believe Amazon's U.S. numbers. So it's definitely picking up share. It also talked a lot about its its Walmart ads business, which is also growing in the strong 20% level. Its international numbers were pretty positive too, at over 10%. So it had a great first quarter, and that is definitely because of a lot of these other businesses, not just what consumers themselves are purchasing.
Were you, as far as the guidance, it was raised obviously, and they were positive, but is it still conservative, do you think?
Well, it's definitely, their numbers, I believe, are in the low to mid single digits is where they're speculating the rest of the year is going to shake out. It's higher than inflation, which suggests that they are certainly picking up transaction volume. They certainly picked up transaction volume this quarter. But when I saw the numbers, it looked like it was a business that was looking more and more like Amazon's business. A significant part of Walmart's business now is coming from its third-party marketplace, which is part of their e-commerce business, and their ads business, which is, of course, consumer packaged goods companies and other brands that sell at Walmart purchasing advertising to be in front of shoppers. So those are definitely high-margin businesses. They are monetizing a lot of their foot traffic and the eyeballs to their website, and those are definitely parts of the playbook that some of these larger e-commerce behemoths have succeeded with. And now Walmart is just simply taking pages from those already very successful examples.
It's gotten a little bit political, Sucharita. I'm talking about price increases passed along to consumers, and people have even appealed to the big retailers to try to moderate increases and actually bring down prices to help people that are strapped. Do you think, is Walmart done either? Have they raised prices more than they should have for lack of a better term, for profiteering in an inflationary environment? Are they able at this point to bring any prices down to help strap consumers, or is it exactly what it is?
I would not say that Walmart is one of the companies that has been gouging consumers by any stretch of the imagination. I think that some of the other grocery chains have had some of that reputation. I think that even perhaps some of the specialty retailers may fall into that bucket. Walmart has really led on its everyday low price model. It's that EDLP vision that has been part of the company's ethos for decades. And the truth is that part of the growth in transaction volume is largely led not just because of that value equation, but because consumers often do know where they can get the lowest price for milk or eggs or whatever commodities they're purchasing. And often it is going to be a company like Walmart, as well as, there are other players that are in that bucket too, that are trying to win on value. But certainly I would say that Walmart is not one of those violators.